Ava. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, it's so nice to be here.
Yeah, so how have you been doing lately?
I've been really good, been really busy. It's summer, so you think I wouldn't, but it's just like one thing after the other, but still really, really fun, enjoying my summer. So,
That's great. I'm glad you're making the most out of your summer. So, first off, not related to the topic, which will be about acting on screen and on stage, we're going to go through some rapid fire questions. So, the first one
okay.
is, if you were allergic to something, what would it be?
Oh, I don't have allergies. Like, like, there's nothing that comes to mind like automatically, but um, like gross smells, so that I can get. That's an excuse to get away from it. If you're allergic, and
Right.
like you're in like a really gross smelly place, you're like, oh my bad, I have to leave. Like I can't stay.
I'm allergic to garbage cans. Okay. If I was allergic to something, it would be like blue cheese because that I
Okay.
I don't think I would ever need to eat it, and I don't want to eat it.
Okay.
Like before, I might have said tomatoes, but then that takes me away from never eating spaghetti again and other things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is favorite word.
Favorite word.
Mhm.
Mm, um,
Or it could be the first thing you think about right now.
oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. The first thing that comes to mind is the word like periwinkle
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah. So my dad doesn't think that it's a real word. And so every time like we happen to bring it up, he gets so mad. And like me and my mom's just like we're dying because he really does not think it's a real word. And we're like we've looked it up to show him before, but he still refuses. It's kind of funny.
That's interesting. I actually named one of my stuffed animals after Periwinkle, and its name is Winkles.
Aw, wait, that's so cute.
Okay, my favorite word is no. Like, usually, maybe someone would
Facts.
say yes, but no is just easy to say. And then if you say no, you can always do something else. So it doesn't
Exactly.
mean something ended. Okay, next is favorite cake type or flavor.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to say red velvet.
Oh, okay. I
I
can.
know people will come at me and they're like, it's just chocolate with red food coloring, but the red makes it taste better. It just does.
Okay,
So
argument. But there's also the cream that adds to the flavor. So
that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then for me, ice cream cake. I love ice cream, so anytime I can eat it. Cake too.
For real.
Next one is maybe a little game to get us going for what we're going to do later, but here you have to think about the first word that comes with the letter. So I'm going to give you three letters, and you
Oh
just think of
no.
the first word you think.
Okay.
Okay, first letter is D.
Down.
Okay, Q.
Quantum physics.
Wow. Okay.
I
Um,
don't know if that's Q or if that's
nah, that's
like
Q.
it
That's
is. Okay, we're
yeah.
pretending. Okay.
Okay, and then T.
Teeth.
Okay. Yeah. Ready? You can give me some if you want, or we can move on to the next question.
Oh, okay, I'll give you some.
Okay.
L.
Lollipop.
Okay, okay. Um, B.
Burning.
Arson. I love it. Anyway. Um, M.
Monkey. Pox. Monkey pox.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. LMNOP. There we go. We made it through the alphabet.
We did.
Okay. Now, what is something that you want to learn?
Mm, sign language. I wanted to learn for years. And so I think I'm gonna take a college class of it. But yeah, I think it's so cool and it lets the deaf community be super inclusive. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
That is cool. That reminds me, when I was in elementary, I went to this after school or morning school or whatever. It was both. And then half the days of the week, they had sign language classes for us.
That's so cool. I wish that I went there, but I mean,
Uh,
college.
yeah. Okay. If I was to learn something, which I can't really think of right now, it's probably just languages in general.
Mhm.
Like, I recently got back onto Duolingo after not
Oh,
being
yeah.
on it. Yeah, and I've opened up French, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and so on. So, yeah, the last question, or I don't know, we'll figure this out. Finish the phrase, okay?
Oh,
The
okay.
way, the way to my heart is blank. Is what?
Books.
Ah, so books is your favorite thing ever. That's the way to your
I
heart.
have some there. I have
Oh,
some there. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. For me, I'd say if this was for like romantic kind of, the way to my heart is through like openness or like
Mhm.
considerate, being considerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking facts over here. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's actually get into the topic. It's been a while with these random questions. But first off, why do you act? So Ava is a representation of theater acting. Well, I am, even though I'm like retired, I'm going to be a representation of on-screen acting and maybe a little bit of voiceover. But now we're asking Ava, why does she do theater acting, stage acting?
Well, I mean, it's a that's a loaded question because
Mm.
there's so many like pieces and parts that go into it, especially theater and like stage acting, because there's plays, but there's also musicals. And me personally, I prefer musicals because I sing and dance and act. Um, and it's ever since I was little, it's always been like a really big passion of mine. I started acting or doing musicals with a company called 321 Action Kids Musical Theater in Cerritos. And the first one I did, I was I think about 6.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, ever since then, it's just been like a really big part of my life because the first show I did, I like fell in love with it. I loved the community that we built there, especially because I stayed there and did more shows with them. And so like the people you knew and like just working together to put on like a huge production that like it's rewarding in the end, obviously, but it's also like the funny little jokes you make backstage, the fun time you have learning the songs and the dances and harmonizing, as annoying as it can be, but just like really having a good time. And also like the rush that you get when you're performing in front of an audience because like you have your main character moment, but
Yeah.
it's just so much fun and like a blast in a million different ways.
Hmm. What is this first show that you actually did when you were so young?
It was Honk Junior.
Oh, I remember people doing that in elementary. You
Yeah, no,
did.
but
Wow. That's
yeah,
cool.
I was a little I think it was a duck. I was a little duck baby.
Oh, that's so
But yeah, it was that show is I mean, it's what got me into theater, but like ever since then I've grown to love it so much and discover other musicals, and
Mhm.
it's been like such a journey since then.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so my experience is pretty different also because on-screen acting, you don't have that whole audience. It's not like
Yeah.
you have the major main character moment, I guess. It's more
Hmm.
like you have lights to make sure the lighting looks okay on screen.
Yeah.
Or you have the people who actually when I used to be on set, there were a lot of people in the background who just take care of the mics and the
Mhm.
lighting and the clothing and so on,
Yeah.
but not to watch you and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that kind of, yeah. So I joined because I think it was when I was around 10 or 11. I might have been going through like some rough times. So apparently my parents signed me up for acting because they thought it was a way to boost up my confidence, which
Mhm.
it did. It also helps with eye contact and me constantly looking in the camera screen.
Yeah.
That's something that I got used to. And same thing, I really enjoyed the community. A lot of people made it fun. They would sell a story or a
Yeah.
commercial, and I'd want to be like them because then you become exaggerated or however expressive you want to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. And then the next question would be well, no, you already answered. The next question is going to be how long have you been acting? But you've been
Yeah.
acting for way longer than I have. Couple years. Okay.
I mean, not like professionally. I would say that you have more experience in like professionalism,
Or
but
in the entertainment industry. I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing I guess we kind of have to split up is what's considered professional. Like
Yeah.
technically, you've been in all these stages and we can call that professional theater. Or
Yeah.
you could call professional theater something like people who are actually on Broadway or
Yeah, yeah,
acting.
yeah. I
So
mean, that's the goal, but
okay, we're gonna be talking about goals very soon.
oh, okay.
Huh. Okay, so the next question was in general, you kind of covered it. You said it includes theaters and musicals. Um, does onstage acting include anything else, maybe that people might not know of?
Yeah, it it has a lot of parts to it. Especially I think it's a lot harder when you're doing it live on a stage in front of an audience than if you're recording it and you can like redo the takes or you can
Yeah.
like fix a mic or you have like you're fixing your hair like when no one's watching. But on stage, like if your mic falls off or if it stops working, you
Wow.
have to like really project so the people at the back can hear you, you know? And then there's our crew in the wings who are like running around
Yeah.
finding props that went missing, helping us with our costumes, doing mics, just there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see. Um, a lot of mishaps, a lot of missed cues, but we work through it, and that's what's so important about improvs for especially for live actors, is to be able to like pick up really quick, think on your feet, just be able to like rush back into it and then like find a way to get back to the story. So yeah.
Right. I actually never really thought about that. How you said that acting, you get a lot of the retakes and so on. Like for you guys, you have a bunch of like rehearsals beforehand, but then when you actually get on stage in front of the audience, it's really a one take. I mean, we still have the mishaps too.
Yeah, yeah.
But we unless you're talking about live, um,
Mhm,
live on screen, let's just say okay, I did this one thing before. It wasn't live. It was a reality show.
mhm.
But you don't really redo things. Once you say
Yeah.
something, it's done. So in that way, eh, maybe a little
Yeah.
there. But yeah.
Yeah, and in that way it's similar, but like also like reality TV, it's like it's reality TV. So like you're not gonna like stage reality. So that makes sense.
Huh. Maybe I'll put that down. It's not necessarily all real, and I can talk on my experience with but if I was to say what else on screen includes, it's from simple like PVSAs and also it includes like music videos or PVSA,
Mhm.
sorry, it's that's not the acronym, but something about public service announcement, PSA. And it goes all the way up to like the actual movies, commercials,
Mhm.
just anything you watch.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Okay. So now I kind of wanted to go over like maybe assumptions we had about each other. So kind of like the debate between band and orchestra where all people are like, oh, those are band kids. But then the people outside have no idea what you're talking about. It's like, okay, well, among actors and actresses with like theater and on stage, what assumptions do we have of each other? You go first.
Mm, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it much. I don't like know personally many like screen actors.
Mhm.
I mean, aside from you, but um, like I don't know. I guess that I mean, I feel like I've thought about stage theater a lot more than like screen
Mhm.
acting, just because obviously I've done stage acting a lot more.
Right.
But I just think that it like in stage acting you have to be a lot more careful and a lot more like precise, you know, especially or not actually no, I take that back. In screen acting you have to be more precise, but in stage acting you you need to be a lot bigger and a lot more expressive because you're on a
Oh,
stage, you
yeah.
know, and like the people at the back of the theater need to hear you, they need to see you. So you like unless you're playing a character that's meant to like be in a corner like the entire show,
Mhm.
you want to like you want to be loud enough and expressive enough to play a convincing character at the same time putting on a good show. So and I feel like with screen acting the multiple takes obviously helps, but I feel like if a camera's like right in your face you can be a little less like dramatic with your body movements but more expressive with your face, you know.
Right.
So like I feel like for screen acting it's like more the subtle things, while stage acting it's more about like projecting and being like a big star, you know, kind of thing. Yeah.
Hmm. That was a very detailed analysis.
Sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about. I was personally, when I asked this question, I didn't know my own answer. But for some reason, I feel like just because the family is so much bigger, or usually so much bigger on stage, um,
Hmm.
that most of the time I would assume they get more time together, so they become more closer. Now, of course, people on stage also like, they can become friends too.
Yeah.
But I feel like on-screen kind of acting, there's there's a lot more competition. So like on stage, you guys are trying to put a story together, but there's a lot of competitive shows on screen that I feel like
Hmm.
the people behind the scene are purposely like kind of drifting away from each other or want to stay apart.
Yeah.
Um, so when I used to do acting, yeah, there were some people that I met and it wasn't the easiest to
Yeah.
talk to. It, he or she. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think. You guys are just like have closer times. I don't know.
Yeah. I definitely get that because like rehearsal processes are long and draining, and it's a lot of repetition to like get blocking down, get music cues, get light cues, especially during tech week. Um, those are really long days. So I feel like it's a lot of community, especially if you have a like well, I mean, you could say this for small shows or big shows, but um I just feel like everyone is like there for each other. And you know, like I was in a production of In the Heights recently, and that was a really big cast. And so like we all brought each other food and drinks to like rehearsals if we had time. So it was we all got along extremely well, which I granted doesn't always happen, but
Yeah.
it's like a blessing when it does because it makes the show like run that much smoother because there's no drama or anything backstage. It's just
Mhm.
helping each other get ready, doing makeup, doing hair for each other, you know, which I did a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when you get along with your cast. So yeah.
Oops. Okay. Didn't mean to put on stage acting in a bad light or anything.
No, 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 no. I
But
you just gotta tell people what goes on backstage because no
yeah,
one's I
yeah,
mean no one else is back there.
yeah. Okay. So I would say the fighting is or the being against each other is not too common, but it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just so many gigs like you guys are preparing for a show. And let's
Hmm.
just say I'm preparing for a commercial. I only met someone and I'm going to film with them for one day. It's like there's
Yeah.
just not that much time to even like get to know each other for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're doing. But the next one was like kind of finding similarities and differences. Now, some of them are pretty obvious, but something that I noticed is like you guys need to dance, sing, and act on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for acting, it's like preferred. Like we call it a triple threat, if you
Yeah.
are able to do all three, but most of the time it's like acting and singing,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. But even for like Disney auditions, I don't think they necessarily ask you to be able to sing or dance in the moment. It's like something they find out later, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like gonna help boost up your like resume or something. But
Yeah, yeah.
in general, I think it just starts with being so exaggerated. Like you're the funny thing is you're right about not wanting to have so much body movement, because
Mm-hmm.
when I used to act, people are like, why are you moving your head so much? Why are you moving your hands so much? No, just stay still.
Just,
You can
just
act.
stay in your box.
Yeah, stay in your box. So you're actually right about that. I just realized it. But yeah. Okay. Actually, let's see. Have you ever done an at home like audition for anything?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a complicated answer. I'll explain.
Okay.
Um, Not an audition for like a show,
Mhm.
but when COVID hit, um, two directors from two different schools put on this thing called Broadway Bound, where it was middle and high school. So it was like two different competitions, but it was like the same thing where kids could sign up to sing a song from any musical of their choice, and it like the scoring included a lot of different components, obviously the singing and the acting part, but also like the technical aspects
Mhm.
um that you would use to like film the video. And so the first videos that we sent in on the Google Classroom were just of us singing the song,
Mhm.
and we got feedback from the other like contestants too. um and so it was constructive criticism, but most of it like wasn't even criticism. It was like, yo, like your voice is so pretty.
Yeah.
But there was criticisms,
Mhm.
but um that, I guess, in a sense was an audition, but not for like a role or anything.
Mm, I would consider that an audition. You're showcasing
Okay.
yourself. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I used to go to all in-person ones in the past, of course, like years ago. And my mom would be the one driving me, and sometimes they'd be like an hour and a half long drives.
Yeah.
So that got a little messy. Sometimes we might be late, sometimes we're an hour early. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy depending on traffic. And then with COVID, we did all online. We even got like a little setup with like a white cloth to
Yeah.
just stand in front of and record. But I realized like I'm a lot worse at acting like when I'm doing at home auditions, because I
Yeah.
know that I can take so many takes just to
Mhm.
get that one like perfect like film or whatever. So I end up taking like 2 to 3 hours just to do one audition. And it's just me messing up on small words.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be frustrating at home, but
Yeah,
in general,
definitely.
it's a lot easier on the travel and the time.
Yeah.
Um, but all of this talk was basically about the basics. So
Mhm.
I forgot to mention that we were into the next like step of this episode. But yeah, we're talking about the basics, things that we need to prepare for auditions or for when we get roles. So the next question would be like, how do you find opportunities?
Well, most of the theater that I've done has been, well, the the from the beginning, it was with that theater company, that kids theater company, and that was we got introduced to that by really, really close family friends who are also immensely involved in theater. Um, One of them actually graduated 2 years ago, and she's in Europe right now, um, studying abroad for acting and stuff, which I hope I can get there one day. But yeah, at first it was them, and then it became acting at school. which is mostly musicals, but it's fall play and then 2 musicals, which I was involved in this past year going back, and it was so much fun. So I think the rest of my high school career is going to be focusing on shows at school, maybe if I have time, outside shows. But I'm definitely going to start like looking for opportunities elsewhere once I get to college and I'm like, I don't have school to fall back on. But yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you pretty much just go for what you see, but
Yeah.
is there like a preference or like like more specific plays you'd want to go for or musicals?
Well, I definitely have favorites,
Okay.
but when your director doesn't pick the one that you want, you have to deal with it. But I mean, yeah, like I said, there's definitely favorites. Mamma Mia is my favorite musical ever. Phantom of the Opera, Dear Evan Hansen, a bunch more. But I mean, there's nothing that like I wouldn't do, because part of the experience for me is just like it is the experience, it's not about like being the best. It's just about it's getting in the experience. So even if like my director were to choose a show that I'm not super a fan of, like I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. I would still audition because I want to like open myself to new like characters and acting styles, especially if it's like a character that I've not really played before, like regarding their mannerisms or like their talking style or accents or whatever. But yeah.
Okay. For me, I would say I used to find opportunities through this talent agency. I don't think they're around anymore, but we did a showcase, and it's kind of like you show off your skills where there's a bunch of kids or adults or whoever, and then the talent agencies just kind of scout you. Like they pick out,
Yeah.
oh, I want this person, and then they reach out, and so we sign a contract, and then they help. I would say they found around 2 to 3 auditions per week. I'm not really sure. And then sometimes my mom would find some, and I would like look at some, but that was it. I would just look at them. And so there's a lot of like acting sites that, well, you have an account and you subscribe and things like that, but there's a lot there's one acting in voice studios. I might be wrong. But yeah, they have a lot of opportunities and they kind of show you whatever matches your skill set and things like that. The ones that I go for, like less mature ones, like there is one where the person is going to curse and they're going to have their first kiss with a random male boy, right? I didn't do that one.
Yeah.
A lot of people sometimes they complain like, oh, I lost my first kiss to a random person on screen.
Yeah.
I've never done those kind of things, but I would say one day I want to do a commercial. Okay, when I was acting, that's what I said.
Yeah.
One day I want to do a commercial. I mean, I still do, but I know I'm not active, so I can't showcase as much. But the next question is like, how do you prepare for an audition? Like, do you need to bring something, show something?
Water. First of all, bring your water. That is so important. Especially if you're going through like a super long audition process. You want it for your voice, you want it for staying hydrated. If you're like dancing, dance auditions suck. So bring water. Second of all, you want to prepare if it's a singing audition, prepare your song, have your track ready. Warm up before, like as much as you can. And just like self-talk, positive self-talk. Convince yourself you got this, you got to be positive. because if you go into it not, then like you're definitely gonna screw it up. So as long as you're like confident in yourself and you've rehearsed enough, then you're golden. Funny story actually. There have been two auditions where I switched the song
Oh no.
like the afternoon before because I didn't like how the like previous song sounded.
Mhm.
I wouldn't advise that, but you know, it landed me roles. So maybe do try it if you want. But yeah.
So how did you choose the type of song, or like which part of the song? Would you just sing the whole thing? Things like that.
Usually for auditions that I've done, it's about a minute to a minute and a half
Mhm.
of any musical song.
Song.
Usually your director will know it. If not, it's a new song, a sound for them.
Mhm.
But as long as you like stay between those requirements, then you're fine.
Do you have a go-to song that showcases your best potential?
Mm, no,
No.
I probably should, but I don't. Um, Usually I will look at the roles for that show and then
Mhm.
decide a song based on the character that I want to be cast as.
Mhm.
So that they can like see that I would be able to sing and act as that character.
Right.
Um, but a lot of the time I don't have a preference what character I get cast as. So I'll choose a song where it's like it's both low and high and maybe a little bit of belting, but
Yeah.
just something all over the place
Right. You got to show every single piece of everything.
as I can.
So, like, I mean, usually people bring water for auditions in general. For voiceover auditions, I do all of those at home. So usually you must already have like a resume of things you've already done, and that's why if I was to audition right now, I'd probably not get anything just because I've been taking like voiceover classes a little bit here and there, but I haven't been taking like on screen, like
Mhm.
where or I'm in the camera. So usually you would need to have a resume of the most recent things that you've done, the biggest things you've done. Then you have a reel, which is basically a video of you showcasing your. So it's like that 1 to 1.5 minute of singing, but instead it's like either usually people want you to do comedy, like something that showcases that you can be funny if you're going to go for like a kids show and things like that, or for voiceover you want to make a reel of commercials, and like a lot of things these days are looking for natural, even
Mhm.
though we all know that things are exaggerated. They still don't necessarily want you to put a voice on, like let's just say you're trying to be a cartoon character. They want you to speak naturally, and then later they might find out, oh, you can do this too, then that's where it comes in. But usually it's like the tone, what they're looking for, and this is talking for voiceover. But for on stage, other than having a reel of you doing a commercial or and a monologue, something that maybe shows a more serious side or something other than selling something to someone,
Yeah.
then like in the audition plays, I'll definitely keep going over the script like in the car on the way to the place. Usually the place is pretty quiet just because it's probably tense. There's a bunch of people in the waiting rooms. Sometimes there's like when you go to a restaurant and you, I don't know, register yourself into the computer, like they have that at the place. Then you come into the room, it looks dark from the outside, the windows are covered sometimes just for the secrecy.
Mhm.
And then you come into the room and there's usually like a panel, a table. I'm guessing this is also for on stage acting, where there's like a panel of judges. And then you come in, you give a firm handshake, and you're like, nice to meet you. You hand your resume and your, oh, I forgot what it was called, but I think it was a headshot. You
Headshot.
give them a headshot to every single person. And then you go, I don't know, sit in your chair or go to the mark or whatever, where the camera is, and then kind of just follow the directions. So if there's something that helps me memorize, oh, no, I don't use things that help me memorize. But I do remember that there is I just forgot. But when I prepare for something, oh no. It was in my head. I really wanted to say it. Anyways, I think that was actually along the lines. When I forget, yes. Okay, now I got it.
Okay.
So basically, when people are interviewing me, or when people have questions, or they're like, what are the most recent things you've done? What makes you stand out? And things like that. Usually, I don't prepare for those. Now, I know that's not usually the advice someone wants to hear or thinks would work out. But personally, I do better at improv or improvisation. So I just answer on the spot. It works better than me preparing for something and being like, oh shoot, I messed up. I forgot. I gave the wrong answer. So in the usual cases, I'll just answer on the spot and it'll be just fine. So
Yeah, and I think answering on the spot too also like lets people see you're natural, especially when people look for natural, they want to see you're natural, not
right.
like they don't want to see scripted. So it gives them an idea of you too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see. The next question, not a question. It's more like an activity. Let's just say right now it's audition time. Okay. So what makes you stand out? What are you going to show them right now? Like something that's not too loud. But yeah, what do you want to do?
Song? I can do song.
Okay, do a song. What is your favorite song right now?
Oh, hard question. Can't answer that because like first of all, my music taste is everywhere. I listen to like almost everything. But um theater comes to mind. One of my favorite songs that's not loud is I Could Tell Her from Dear Evan Hansen. That song is so sweet. I love it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just jump into it.
Yeah.
If I could tell her everything I see. If I could tell her that she's everything to me. But we're a million worlds apart. And I don't know how I would even start. If I could tell her. Yeah.
That sounds exactly like a musical.
Yeah.
Kind of song. Whoa. Okay. So definitely I would say there's a trend of songs that are I don't know about musicals, but for like general singing auditions like Roar or Girl on Fire, or I just feel like these are very common. Something that's the issue is sometimes on these computers or whatever microphones we're using right now, high notes also get a little fuzzy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Something that's not too fuzzy. It's a pop song that was on a Chinese survival show. And the person, I don't even know what the title is, but when the day bleeds into nightfall and you're not here to get me through it all, I let my guard down and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kind of used to being someone
You
love.
Love by
That's
Louis
it.
Capaldi. Yeah.
Yes. And then they have the really high part, that I can't do loud, but it's and I
Yeah.
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 Okay. So if I was to showcase something, I would sing, but surprisingly, I've never had an audition where I needed to sing yet. So
Really.
okay. And then let's get in a little bit of improv. Ready? Okay.
All right. Okay.
The first one is sell it to me. Okay. So so for the people who are not like watching this and they're just listening, I'm going to show her something that she has to improvise and sell. And basically this is a plastic angel's hat. Yes. Okay. Tell me when you're ready. Or actually,
Right.
3, 2, 1. Action.
I'd like to talk to you today about this plastic angels hat. And you know, angels, they're like best team ever, you know. And also the color red is like top tier, you know. It's symbolizing of love, of passion, of fire. So, you know, if you like the color red, this is the product for you. It has a glorious A right on the front, lets you know lets people know what team you belong to. So it's small, it's portable, it's fashionable, of course, you know. So who wouldn't want one of these? It's amazing. It sits right on your head. It's right on your head. And it's like it's amazing. It's top tier fashion. I don't know what else to say, you know. Go buy one. I go buy one.
Yes, that was beautiful. And I gave you something so random.
That scared me. I was like, what's supposed to say?
That was good. That was good. It represents fire, passion, love.
Dude, my English teacher would be so proud of me because of the color symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, all our English teachers just expect that we know whatever color symbolizes whatever kind of theme. And then they're mad if you don't know. Okay. So, that was a nice one. Let me see.
I'm doing another one?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You could give me one, or we can go on to the next one. What do you want to do?
Do you want to do one? Because I can.
I see you have a lot of stuff in your background.
I do. I do have a lot of stuff in my
Sure.
background.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay. It's a little statue of a little frog.
That was a rock. It's a rock, right?
It's well, kind of. It's a little frog, and it's ceramic though. Yeah.
Did you make it?
No, one of my best friends made it for me.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool. Okay. Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
So I don't know what's been going on with me these days, but I've been so energetic. I've been hopping around. I've been crazy and wanting to just hang out with every single animal or amphibian that I've seen lately. Now, what am I talking about? Oh, you see, I've been having dreams of this new ceramic stonish kind of frog that I just bought. And the best part of it all, it's handmade. Now, there's plenty of it. It's full of a bunch of colors. It's going to make you want to jump around everywhere and just let every single person you know buy this thing, because this frog is like has become my spiritual animal. It's become my favorite thing in the world, and I bet that once you get your hands on it too, you'll want it too. It's a paperweight. It's just there to make you smile, and it'll always stay with you. It's like your best friend. You know how there's the dog is the man's best friend or the guy's best friend? Well, this frog is now your new best friend. So why don't you go get one right now? And it costs less than $10, but you get a deal when you buy one and mention it to a friend. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, that was like, oh my gosh. You can tell who has experience in commercials and who doesn't.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So in the past, like when I had classes, we would do cold reads. So that means like you kind of just read like a commercial slip for 1 or 2 times and you go off it. It doesn't matter if you memorize it or not, they'll have it underneath the camera. And there were some really silly games where, let's just say I was doing a bunch of gibberish. That's my partner over there speaking some blah, 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 and then I'm going to be trying to interpret what they're saying with their hand motions and sell something. So this is like one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then, okay. So the next one is something really short. Let's practice rhyming. So I'm going to start off a story and then we'll see where it goes. Hopefully it's not too long. Okay. So once upon a time, there was a little mouse that found a rhyme.
And he was so curious about this lime that he walked down this strange blue line.
What? Okay. and then he was wondering what he saw and what he could buy with just a dime. But then he decided if he stole the dime, it would be such a big crime.
So then he threw up his arms and said, "Fine, I guess I won't buy the lime."
And now he decided that the time to go home, that it was time to go home. And so at 11 on the dot, it was finally time. Okay.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Favorite story ever.
Woohoo!
We should
So,
write it and illustrate that into like a children's book and
nice.
see how well it sells.
Ah, that was short enough. Sweet, short, simple. I
Yeah.
don't think that's the order. Yeah.
That mouse better get his lime. Poor guy.
Maybe someone will donate it to him since he couldn't steal it.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Okay. So after that, I guess we'll go back into talking about, things behind the scenes for acting. So, just a quick overview of where we are right now. What was your biggest or most recent role?
I was one of the street urchins in Little Shop of Horrors. That was my most recent. But I would say my biggest role was probably Abuela Claudia in The Heights. That show required a lot of vocal strength, and a lot of more emotional acting. But the urchins in Little Shop required a lot of dancing. And let me tell you, after the first number, we were like it was so bad. When we like during rehearsals for that song, we would sweat so much. But I don't think I've ever danced that much for a show, but it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, it was
like
really fun to watch.
thank you.
I was in the audience I don't even know, on a Saturday. So usually when they perform, it's like a couple days. And I went to one of them, and of course I noticed you. One, because you're my friend. You're like one of the stars. Like there's like 4 or 5 of what she said were the urchins, right? And they were always dancing, always in the back. You guys were like carrying the show, making people laugh because of all your like random comments or the time to just pop into a song. So yeah, wow, you were very fun to watch. You shine.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, there's this show called Shop Class. It's the reality show that I was talking about. Reality show. And okay, it's kind of reality show. And that was my biggest and maybe most recent. I would say my most recent was actually Voiceover, but if it was on screen, it's probably Shop Class, which was in 2019, which shows how long ago I stopped acting. But in that one, I learned a lot. I made a lot of connections, and I'm really glad that I did it because now that I look back, oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna say anything. But a couple of, I think it was already 1 to 2 months after the filming, and we already finished. We have this. It's like a secret. You can't tell anyone what you've been up to. So I guess that's something with acting. It's like usually you have a period where you finish something, but you can't tell anyone what you've done.
I know.
Yeah, it's just all a secret, and then later people will find out that, oh, cool, but it's like already been months since that happened.
This is old for me.
Yeah. So that's something. I guess it wasn't hard to keep the secret, but it was like exciting for when that time comes, and it's like everyone go watch it when it launches onto the platform, which probably it's still there. Disney Plus. So it went on there. Yeah. And not many people know about it because it's like a special audience. The show is about building things. So it's like a bunch of teens are paired with mentors, and we are given challenges, and we must build this thing, and then whoever makes it the best kind of like moves on to the next levels. So
Cool.
that's what the show was.
Go watch it now.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So but yeah, that was my biggest and most recent. So how do you keep yourself like staying active? Like how do you stay fresh with your skills so that you're ready?
Mhm. I sing like every day.
Okay.
That's just like it's just habit now because it's
Yeah.
every day, you know. I don't do improvs every day, but you know, I do talk to myself every day, and those feel like improv conversations. So I'd like to think that that keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I don't do much when I'm not doing a show, especially during the year, because especially this past year, it like one show ended, and then like the week after, we only had a week in between, and then auditions were already starting for the next show.
Right.
So it's not much time, like it's not much downtime, which I mean I'm not complaining because I love to be involved like all the time. But um the only really downtime is during the summer, and that's like spent getting ready, like looking forward to the new shows,
Mhm.
and I would say getting better at singing and acting as much as I can, um just practicing, rehearsing, making myself better. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I would say that the things that I do help me keep up with my skills, but they don't. Because I
That's
sing every
okay.
day.
That's okay. Yeah.
Just like you, I sing every day, but as you've seen, that doesn't do anything for me. It hasn't gotten me
No.
anywhere. And when I actually I taught myself to practice like speaking in other languages. So it's really weird, but sometimes when I talk to myself, I go back and forth between Spanish, Chinese, and English in the same like sentences. Now it doesn't exactly make sense, but it's kind of me making myself proud that am able to
That you can speak
continue doing.
languages. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
funny you say that because I kind of do the same thing too. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Um, Now the big question of today is how did acting shape who you are today?
Hmm. Big question. Well, it's pushed me to the like realization that I know that I want to go to college for theater,
Mhm.
and that I actually want to start screen acting too. I
Ooh.
have to get there, but
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely gonna keep acting on stage and on screen, or hopefully on screen too. Definitely gonna keep singing and dancing. So, you know, hopefully it'll all just like mix together and give me a good a good outcome.
Yeah.
But it's made me like it's given me an outlet to be creative, you know.
Mhm.
It's been like my biggest thing since I was little.
Yeah.
And being able to do it so often and with like such great people has been so much fun and like the best thing for me.
Wow. It gives you the chance to be who you are, but also explore more sides of you. Like more.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I see, this is why the episode would have been more interesting if it was with an active on-screen actress or actor instead of a retired
No, that's okay. You can still be
one.
retired and still have experience. That's
Yeah.
okay.
But one of my friends who is active right now, like she's also a dancer, a singer, and an actress on the side. She just recently had a shoot, and she definitely wants to become a professional dancer in the future.
Mhm.
And then I found out through acting that it's fun. It's a side thing. So sometimes you find out maybe that's where you want to go, and sometimes you find out maybe not. but like it's something that definitely made me more open. So like originally I guess I joined for confidence boosts. And I would say that definitely happened. I like have learned to work with professionals. Like when I meet new people through my acting classes, we literally all stood in a line and we would go like in circles and keep switching with the teachers to practice like firm handshakes. And we would just
Mhm.
keep repeating. So in a way that worked on my handshakes. I also learned because of improvisation. Now I just when I talk and when I ask questions, sometimes it definitely helps with creativity and saying random things. So sometimes whatever I'm like, I remember one day my conversation starter to my friend was, "How do you like to eat your cream cheese?" While we were running the mile during school. Now that has no relation to anything, right?
I mean, I don't think so.
But I think that acting has probably made me more random than I could have imagined. But it's also made me more confident, as in I would just walk around elementary in some mismatching socks and like a poncho that was full of colorful polka dots on a non-raining day. Like I was just more open, and I still think I'm getting more open nowadays. I always enjoy kind of getting myself out there and being
Yeah,
open, things like that. But it's definitely given me an experience that helped me grow,
definitely.
from just like walking, talking. I don't know about public speaking, possibly, but
Just a little
just a little bit, yeah.
bit.
But overall, I'm really glad that I did it, and if I could, I still would. I just know that it's not my main job, and
Yeah,
acting is like full-time kind of commitment. So I
yeah.
can't just say, "Oh, I'll do this here and there,"
Hmm.
because that's not realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's like it's a craft that you want to be committed to because you want to like you want to do the best that you can.
That's
Especially
right.
it's like if it's screen acting and like it's gonna be on a platform where a lot of people can view it and
Mhm.
like it's what comes to mind is like these big like blockbuster movies that like people get so excited for. Like you want to make sure that you do a good job so
Yeah.
that they see you and they're like, oh, they're an amazing actor or actress, and like I want to see more of them,
Yeah.
which helps boost your career like crazy. So yeah,
Yeah. So out of like everything you've done so far, everything you're doing is working towards boosting that like reputation, that potential future amazing career. So, like other than the urchin and the little baby duck that you were, like what other things have you done? Like what have you gotten involved in?
in regards to acting or like
Like
outside of that.
like anything on stage, like acting and like the in the heights, like any characters that you've done, or
Okay.
yeah, things like that.
Characters I played. Rapid fire. Okay. Little Baby Duck.
Mhm.
Um, shoot, what's her name? The like the little girl from Annie that is in the laundry basket. Molly. There we go. Molly.
Okay, Molly.
Um, the one that starts off the show, she's crying. That was me. Um, I was the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. I was Toto in Wizard of Oz. And a Munchkin. But I was Martha Brewster in Arsenic and Old Lace. That's not a musical. That's just a play. Abuela Claudia in the Heights. Urchin. What else have I done? um, oh, Aunt, I think her name is Angela in Matilda, the girl with the braids that gets like swung around. We didn't do that in the show, but in the movie.
Okay.
Um, yeah. What? Have
Yeah.
I done other ones? I'm not sure. Probably,
That
but
that was a lot.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. So you got so much experience. Like for me, some people don't even like think that I would ever get involved in these things. You know what? The first time that someone recognized me, like it's actually really interesting when someone recognizes you from an on-screen gig that like you don't share with people. Like you don't
Yeah.
tell people that you are. And then all of a sudden someone's like, "Oh, I know that person, and it was funny because I was part of a Prince EA music video, and I think it was in 7th or 8th grade. Someone was like, "It's Alyssa because of her backpack." I used my school backpack in the film, which like included
Dude.
students. So then people recognized because of that, and it was funny because it went a little bit. I wouldn't say it went around a lot of people, but it did go around where some people definitely came up to me and they're like, "Oh, I saw you in that." And then
Dude, that's cool, but like at the same time you're like, what?
yeah, you're not expecting it because like it's kind of like you're very you don't maybe you don't okay actually I do talk a lot at school but you're like more low key at school about
Yeah.
other outside things and then like all of a sudden maybe you'll have here's another example. There was one of the seniors came up to me and she was walking in from the door and I was walking down the hallway and she just points at me and she's like, "I saw you on the TV. You were in a Chinese commercial." And then I was like, "Whoa."
I was like, "Oh, you actually saw that?"
Yeah, you actually saw that because usually you would okay, so it was an insurance commercial.
Mhm.
Like I would think older people would be watching insurance commercials, but it was very interesting. So
Yeah.
like I have done commercials before, but they were like more background roles, as in I wasn't the one talking. Like it takes a lot of time to get up to that position where
Mhm.
you are a main character, or you.
Yeah.
That's why in the past I was like, one day I want to be the one that's actually advertising the product, not just someone who is playing basketball, or someone
Well,
who is just here, like, or just a student sitting at a desk looking at the projector or exploring the world.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are interesting roles. Like I've done a PSA, public service announcement, um, for like cybersecurity. I've done the shop class show. I have, some things are not coming up in my mind right now, but overall, I got a pretty good repertoire. Like I even learned how to model walk for something. And
Yeah, that's a great skill to have. When you're bored, model walk in your room, because why not? It makes you feel confident, makes you feel hot. Like, does it not? Like,
does. And then at that time it was really fun because then I got to make friends with a bunch of like younger kids who also wanted to try out modeling, and
Mhm.
they embrace differences. There's actually some scouting people who look for people with acne or people who are
Mhm.
specifically like non-binary. Like
Yeah,
they're getting a lot more open nowadays, and it's
which I love that so
yeah,
much. I think
yeah.
it's so important.
Mhm. Representation. Okay. Now, the next question is how does acting affect your personal life, like, or your schedule in general?
It definitely filled a lot of my schedule, that's
Right.
for sure, especially during school with like homework and making sure you eat and making time for hobbies, but having to go to rehearsals for like 3 hours after school, which it was hard, but it's like it's something you get used to and you work around.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, honestly, rehearsals were like the best part of my day, so I loved being there. Um, but it definitely it took time away from other things, but
Right.
it's not like it affected me a lot because it's something that I love to do so much. So
Mhm.
it's really just like kind of like my thing, you know? Um, but you get the occasional or you have to send the occasional text. Sorry, I can't. I have rehearsal.
Mhm.
The theater kid thing to say, but
Yeah.
yeah, which I mean I have no problem sending because like,
Mhm.
you know,
You just
but
love it so much.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely for me, you do so many auditions and you don't get like most of them. So a lot of the time it was just us driving out and preparing for something. But Oh, I have an experience that was like really fun, and I've always wished to do it again. So ever since I've learned like that modeling walk, you know, I went to this audition actually for Claire's, for their cover shooting, taking pictures to show off their clothes, and they specifically asked for like, XL people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that time, yes, I fit that category. So I went over and it was so exciting. They had a rack of a bunch of different clothes and a changing room, and you just try on different outfits and like you feel pretty. And it was such an exciting atmosphere, and I wish I could do it again. But most auditions are not exactly that.
Yeah.
When I'm more for acting, less than modeling. So,
I
but
mean,
honestly,
but both are,
mhm.
they're different, but I feel like they're both experiences and they're both like obviously so much fun.
Yeah.
A little nerve-wracking maybe, but still experiences.
But then like in regards to balance in my life, I would say usually it didn't matter as much because it was elementary, and elementary doesn't have so much work. So I could leave school to go to an audition,
Yeah.
or like when I got into middle school, which is like this for us, middle and high school are at the same school. But when I went, yes, there were days that I missed. There were days that I left early. Like I missed the first 3 days of school in 8th grade. And
Oh.
that it wasn't that bad, to be honest, but it actually led to me getting my Spanish name right now. So my Spanish name is Mimi, but originally I wanted something like Carmela or whatever.
Mm.
But someone already took that. So in a way, I think things just happen, and yeah,
Yeah, just kind of
overall,
go with it.
it's also because the gigs that I get, a lot of them are like on the weekends, during breaks, after school, or like during summer. So like
Yeah.
shop class was fully like filmed during summer. So I
Hmm.
had that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is just going over a brief like discussion about what a busy day in the life of blank, insert either an onstage actor actress or an on-screen actor actress, like what their life on a specific day might look like.
Okay. For a stage actor, I mean, I'm not out of school yet. So I mean, if you're in school, I would have, for me, it was go to school for 6 hours, stay at school, do homework for an hour,
Mm.
um, go to rehearsal for like 3 or 4, come home, do homework, eat dinner, go to bed.
Yeah.
It's pretty structured, which I mean, I don't mind, but well, because at every rehearsal we worked on something different, so it's not like every day was the same. Um, but I mean, spending a lot of time every day on your show is it's kind of vital to put on a good show. But especially because if it's a long show, you need to rehearse everything. You need to be able to run through act 1 and act 2 in like 2-3 hours,
Mhm.
and have everything go smoothly. And we never really do that until tech week, if we do that. um but it's a hectic day with not much time for, like, I wouldn't say not time for breathing, but it's just it's like it's back to back, and as long as you know that you can keep up with it, then I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Oh, also, can you explain really quickly what is Tech Week to the people who don't know?
Tech week, Hell Week, in another name, but it's the week before opening nights
Mhm.
where you got your crew coming in, and they're adjusting lights and sound and music and props and set pieces and everything, and there's like it's insane. Everyone's running around each other trying to get to their spots, trying to get props on, figuring out timing. It's crazy, but and it's long for everyone, but especially for the actors, they have to like stay in the same spot or go back and do something over and over and over again until they get cues right or lighting right or whatever it may be. You got crew yelling at you from the wings, telling you what to do. I love crew. I love them so much. Our show would not be what it is without them. But yeah, there's a lot of people back there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot that we have to like get settled within that week time frame to make the show the show. So yeah,
The whole group effort. Oh my goodness. I think I've been in like 2 musicals. Like for the school. One of them was something about Willy Wonka Jr. Yeah, and then another one was Alice in Wonderland with our school right now.
mm-hmm.
And I was just a flower. Just
A flower. I love flowers.
Yeah, it was exciting. I really enjoyed it, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm going to talk about, yes, on screen. For me, when, like, it really depends. Usually, just because we're around teenage years, like we're around kids still, we do have specific hours that we can work, and we can't work past that. So sometimes we start the workday late, and we'll maybe finish at nighttime, and everyone will just gather and we'll all eat free in and out. You know, happened before. But to go by one of the most time-consuming projects I've done was with shop class. I woke up at 5 every morning because we had to drive out to the set, and like everyone, you know, because we were kids, we didn't exactly really need makeup. So you kind of just put that on yourself. But what was cool is that they provide the clothing, like the costumes and things like that.
Yeah.
And then everyone kind of gets their time to be called out to get their mics in, the hidden mics. And the people behind the scenes are really polite. Like I really appreciate them because they're like, which way is more comfortable? How do you want to put the mic on? Just like with on stage too, like they really care about like, will it fit? Is it comfortable? Does it look right? And they look at all the little details. And so I made friends with the people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But so in the morning, I guess it would be like, let's just say 2 hours of setting up, kind of knowing what we're going to do for the day, because we're not, so there's like a couple rooms where everyone just gathers or you get food and things like that. A lot of free food, you get a lot of snacks. And then you can just
A
like,
win.
yeah, you just pile them up and bring them with you somewhere else.
Yeah.
The rest of the set is like kind of a little farther off. So they are pretty disconnected in terms of like what shop class did. And we definitely got a lot of tents. There were fans and misters because it was summer and things like that. We would travel in like a big bus that actually had like mini tables. So it's kind of like those set buses that you see. Like if you looked up a picture and they're like, oh, they traveled through that, and they hang out in that. So that is kind of what we did. We also ate a lot in there. I'm pretty sure I ate a lot like during those times. And then I mean, we didn't need to practice anything just because it was a reality show. And because we were kids, we had to do homework.
Yeah.
On the behind the scenes, we had like teachers, but at that time our school, because school started different times, so it's kind of awkward. Like some people had to finish doing their packets of homework. Well, there's just me. They're like, oh, you can do educational puzzles because school didn't start yet for me. What else am I gonna do? So yeah, I played like the ones where you move all the pieces to create forms or like move the cars and get one out.
Oh yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah. So that was part of my on set, like, I don't know, learning. But again, I mean, I wasn't actually in school, so that's my experience. So usually we would be filming for about 3 hours at a time before break. Like it wasn't too long just because sometimes we were actually outside the whole time.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of snacks we can choose. what we want for lunch. Like there's a lot of caterer.
Love it. That's
And
like this amazing treatment. I wish
amazing treatment.
stage acting was like that. No, just kidding.
Yeah, but it really depends on like which kind of gig you get. And
Mhm.
then at the end of like of the day, during breaks, um all the people, like the actors, and we would just gather up and we would play games. So there's this one game, I think it was called Spot It, and it was like one of our group's favorite games. So basically there's like a card and a bunch of symbols, and you put two cards out on the same time, and whoever spots the matching symbol, and whoever says it faster and slaps the cards, like wins those cards. So
Mhm.
the person in the
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah, and it just really brought us together, like all the kids and also all the adults too. Like there was one comedian was on our show, his name's Justin Long, and we all got to know him and just like beyond his jokes, just like kind of play with him with the
That's
game or
cool.
whatever. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it was really nice. And other times the guys would play video games behind the scenes, and maybe we'll go on our phones. But that's also where I met like a couple of people, one of them being my birthday buddy.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
so you guys, you can check her out. Her name is Carrington Mason. She is exactly my age. But I will put her information, or I'll just like, mention her later. But like, I guess this is the time to kind of talk about role models. Like for me, I'd say people who are role models from my age would be Carrington and Avantika. And Avantika is she's been in spin and senior year. She's also done multiple other things. And the reason, oh, yeah, check her out. I'll put her name too. But the reason why they're like role models to me is because I've been with them before. Like Avantika and I met as background roles as
Mm.
part of, Prince Ye's music video. And we were just walking down the hallway saying watermelon, 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 pretending to talk. And then now I see how she's gone so far in her career, and I'm just so excited for her. And then Carrington is like beyond acting, she also does dance, and she's like so hardworking. She's always doing something.
Mhm.
And like that's just admirable. Yeah. So do you have any
I
role
agree. Um, I mean, yes.
models?
Um, I mean, my personal ones are personal, obviously, but one of the big role model to me is my sister who just graduated college. It's cliche, I know, but she really is one of like the greatest people that I know. Um, she can't watch this episode. She can't know this stuff. um, but no, she really is a really amazing person who I like. It's really like it makes me sad to think about how we weren't super close when we were little. We are 6 years apart,
Mm,
so that could be why. But then it makes me really happy to think that now we're really really close. So and then just being able to see her grow as an adult has
mhm.
like made me happy because it's made her happy. So
Sure.
um yeah, and then obviously like a bunch of famous people.
Yeah.
But I mean as far as like role models in the music and acting industry,
Mhm.
there's a lot of them. I I think that there's a lot of people worth mentioning. But especially one of the actors in one of my favorite TV shows called This Is Us.
Mhm.
All of those actors, they're so amazing. That as promo for the show, not really sponsor us, no. Um, but that show is really amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's an emotional roller coaster to be honest, but the acting it's real, it's natural, it's what Hollywood is looking for right now.
Mhm.
Um, but I think they have like 5 or 6 seasons now, but it's just like a really touching show. And I think that all of those actors are like played their roles insanely well for what their characters, like the situations that they were put in.
Mm.
So yeah.
Nice. Like if I was to say a personal role model, then that would be my mom, because for sure she puts in a lot of work and she's really the one that got me into acting in the first place. So, let's go into like a little bit about obstacles. Like when you face troubles, struggles, like how do you stay strong or persist, and like maybe what are those obstacles?
Struggles in this industry are really hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I can say for sure. But I think that like knowing that there's going to be more opportunities, especially if I keep looking for them, there's going to be more shows to do. There's going to be more places that are going to have opportunities for me. Like even if I don't get one, I know that I'm going to get another, you know. It's just a matter of time, you know, and it's the dedication that you're willing to put in. So I feel like is like if you can convince yourself to like have the motivation for it to really do it, then I think you can like overcome all the obstacles that you like that you feel and that or that you face. And you'll eventually end up where you want to be. So
Heartfelt.
yeah.
Okay. And then so now it's kind of like getting to the interesting things. This is the part where we're going to ask you guys listening or watching, did you know? So, this could include like props and things like that. But Ava, what are some interesting things that you think people might not know about in onstage acting?
Let me see. It's a hard question because I feel like everything's pretty like self-explanatory. But did you know that like every single set ever is like not three. Oh yeah, 3. Like 3 inches thick.
Oh, so like all the walls, all the doors,
Yeah. Like
every single
nothing's like a legit building.
right.
Like it's just a flat. And okay, wait, I have a good one. Did
Okay.
you know that when flats fall, they make no noise?
Wait, then wait, when what fall?
Like the wall panels, they're called flats. When they fall,
They make no noise.
they make no noise and it's like air. It's so weird. If you build, you would probably know that, but I didn't. And we were taking down one of our sets after the show, and I got so scared when I saw it start leaning, and I was like, "Someone catch it before it falls."
And no one was panicking.
No, they were all just watching it, and I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" And then it made no noise, and I was like, "What? How did that not like just break in half?" But yeah.
That is very interesting. You know, I did know about the flat thing, but I didn't know about the 3 inches, because even from the audience we can see that the walls are really thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like even in the back and like ever like stuff that looks like it's like
kind of more,
you know, okay, you know what? Everything is not what it seems.
yeah.
I'm channeling the inner Wizards of Waverly Place right now. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing is nothing. Nothing is nothing.
It's nothing.
And like and behind set pieces we have like a bunch of props that we like pretend that aren't there until we need them. On stage is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, I have like quite a couple. First of all, this is like, I don't know if it's inappropriate, but it's kind of weird. But did you know that intimate scenes are usually, they have acting coaches? Like, So
Really?
yeah, so people
That would
don't
be
always
so
realize it.
uncomfortable.
I know people don't really realize it, but there are people like watching, of course, because they have to see if it like looks right. And there's some cases where a lot of actors and actresses don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
be intimate, so
Yeah.
they actually have coaches to make sure it looks at least somehow authentic. So
Mm-hmm.
I they're not real.
Could you imagine, like, your official title is like an intimacy coach for actors? That's so funny. Like, what?
But they really are. They really are. I don't know about their pay, but
Oh, it better be
yeah.
it better be good. Like, I'm not doing this for like nothing.
Yeah. They're doing it because it just needs to sell right. But I mean, okay, so there's other things like this is a typical one. Did you know that voiceover people who cast or voiceover casters are looking for accents? Like that's typical. Like when I used to do voiceover, they asked specifically for people who had an Asian accent. Now, I don't know if it's because they want to go by a stereotypical one, but I actually practice speaking Chinese and then try to speak English like that, and I feel like I'm embarrassing myself because
Well,
they want an Asian. That could be sounding like anything though, can't it? Just an Asian accent.
I mean, unless they have something specifically in mind, but I feel like I don't know.
It's like a little interesting. And then now we're going into are the things that you see actually real because so I was a basketball player in a more broad like a phone commercial before,
Mhm.
and we were in like this dark gym. Well, I don't know why, but they closed all the lights and we only had the window light from the natural daylight. Now, no one plays basketball like that, but it's to look good, so that they can see all the mist and things like that. But the interesting thing was they had these background people spray fake sweat on us while we filmed. So yeah, so the sweat isn't always real either, and it was interesting because they needed to make sure it stayed on you, so they mixed like glycerin and something else and water and something else. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was, but it definitely had to show. And it was just kind
Hmm.
of funny because they would keep reapplying it with the spray things, and so that happened. And then in another commercial that I did, definitely looks are deceiving. We were taking a family portrait with my fake mom and dad, and they put my mom on a stool because I was tall, because I was taller than her, so she had to be
That
taller
poor
than.
lady.
But yeah, so that was an interesting experience, and I also got to like learn a little bit of Vietnamese because I was playing a Vietnamese daughter. So and then there was another time. Well, the first one is like behind the scenes. You know how, let's just say there's Chopped or like commercial. I know where there's shows where you have to like design your thing
Hmm.
before you actually make it. Well, no one actually made it a rule that you can't kind of plan a little bit behind the scenes or like text your partner and things like that. Now, I didn't really do that often, but I mean, it wasn't a rule. And then
It's a rule, then you can bend it.
and there's another thing where the interesting is the timer. So you know how when the clock runs down like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not actually when it happened.
Dude.
We would film the time going down in the middle of the challenge so that we can actually finish the challenge like peacefully. Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
But is it not supposed to be like nerve-wracking? Like you're like,
I know we're supposed
I
to
gotta get
act
it done.
like we're nerve wracked, right?
Aw.
We're supposed. No,
I'm gonna watch it and be like, they're all lying. They're all lying.
well, at least that was for my group because there's multiple episodes, right? And
Okay.
but with the people with my group, we would film the time coming down, and then it was funny. And then later we would just be like, okay, continue doing whatever we were doing. So people would position whatever we were making to look like it was almost done, or they would only show what looks like it's almost done.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
And
interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, it actually happened. I don't know if I can confirm it, but I was also part of like a kids version of Chopped, where I was the what's it called, a stand-in, like someone who is the backup for someone who actually has the role. So I didn't actually get to do it because the person came, they cooked and whatever, but I still had to like practice make. Secret. You know, maybe this is not for Chopped, but it was for that show. You don't necessarily make up the dish on the spot. Mm-mm. The people gave me the dish to make, and they gave me the recipes. I could choose which one I wanted to practice before the filming day.
That's
So yeah.
that's it's a lie.
Well, sometimes it may be real, but it was definitely interesting, and like
Maybe
um,
maybe it was because you were like an understudy. They were like, okay,
oh,
we have to prep
that's
her.
true.
So,
Wait, no, that's not true.
oh, just kidding.
No, because the person that I was gonna stand in for literally made the same thing that I was gonna
Oh,
do. So
oh,
I think they probably
okay.
knew. But yeah, so there was that, and then like the general thing about like competition that I talked about in the past was definitely when you get those interviews, the ones where they're like, when you don't hear the person talking in the back, but they're like supposed to tell you, oh, this person is really bad at cooking, or this person, oh, they're kind of like, I don't know, sneaky or whatever, but you're
Mhm.
trying to like say something bad about someone. No, they,
Yes.
they do. They definitely do want you to badmouth people, to be honest. Like, yeah, they kind of want to script you a bit, but overall, if your improvisation is good enough, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of times where there's like the parents behind the scenes, if they wanted to, they could like watch the monitors and they're like, oh,
Mhm.
I want that to be in the actual show. They're like, oh, this was such a cute moment, let's keep that in. But like no one can choose really, because like
Yeah, yeah.
things like that. But it was for sure interesting because the person behind the camera would always like tell me, okay, say that, but then add this. Or like, okay, maybe change this. So the interviews, I mean, for the most part, for me, they were kind of like natural
Yeah.
because they actually told me to say something bad, but no, I won't.
No,
So I
I'm
never
good.
did. Yeah. But I've just been waiting like for all these cool experiences to just like come out one day. And so this episode like gives me the opportunity to just share. Now I'm not trying to like
Uh,
say that everything's fake or
no,
like talk like that,
no.
but it's just interesting things that I've noticed.
Yeah. There's a trend, and that's okay.
Okay, so let's see. We kind of went over like fun and interesting moments, and the last part of this episode is talk about like tips, tricks, and like advice that we have. So the first thing is like, how do you best present yourself, like to a general person who might want to act?
Hmm. I mean, I would say lie to yourself. No, just kidding. Um, don't do that. Um, just recognize your own strengths and weaknesses
Mhm.
and play on them both, like be willing to admit your faults, but also don't downplay your like successes because like you want people to see that and like own it,
Wow.
because if you're not gonna own it, then like what's even the point?
Yeah.
So like just go with it. Be you.
Oh, thank you. And on the same lines, I would just say like bring out your charms, show what makes you different because nowadays that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that
Yeah.
kooky bit of you.
Hmm.
So if you can show people something that makes you like out of the ordinary, that makes you probably a more interesting and a better
Yeah,
candidate. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I would say actually, no, I said what I had to say. But if I was going to act right now, I would probably do better just because if I improv, it's probably going to be really random. I mean, that makes me interesting.
Exactly.
I'm random. Yeah.
If you can improv really well, you're like automatically interesting. Like that's just a rule.
Oh my goodness. Wait, actually I have one more experience. So, at that time, I don't even know when it was, but a long time ago they gave me a box with some kind of Spider-Man or Batman thing and I was supposed to pretend that I liked Marvel or DC Comics or I don't actually remember, but like at that time I kind of researched a bit. I had to. And they just told me to improvise and just sell it. So I mean that's where it came in handy. I was like, look at this plastic body, but that's not what I said. But you
I
know,
mean,
yeah. So I guess I don't know. You want to end things off? Give a fun experience. Something else you want to add?
mm, okay, I'll give an embarrassing story so that people
Oh,
don't
okay.
feel as bad.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's not really an embarrassing story. It's just how I like screwed myself over. But for an like don't feel bad if you mess up an audition because like people do it all the time. I remember for an audition for Greece at our school. I went in and I like it was my first audition at our school. It was a new school for me, so I hadn't auditioned for anything before. And so I walked into that room like so nervous and like feeling so small.
Oh, hmm.
And so I I think I said sorry like
Hmm.
8 times.
Yeah.
And then I walked out of the room and I was like, why? And then I forgot a whole verse
Oh
in
no.
that 1.5 minute
Mhm.
chunk of time. And so I just stood there looking at the director, music director, and choreographer like
Mhm.
it was so bad.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it was my first one, so
Gotta
it
give
was
yourself
it
some
was
leeway.
really more just like testing out the waters.
Yeah.
And so and in the moment I felt like so defeated.
Hmm.
But now I look back and I'm like, "Pfft, what was that?" Like
No, it's just something small. Like
yeah,
go
and
for it.
like look at me now. I didn't I auditioned for that and I wasn't cast,
Hmm.
but the next year I came back, I auditioned and I got main roles in all three of the
Yeah.
shows that we did. Like
Nice. It
I like
shows that self growth improvementness.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's another thing that I think that I can relate to is that acting has helped me grow my like self-confidence so much.
Mhm.
Um especially around my singing because I when I was younger, I would like never like put on performances for my parents or my family. Um but like even though I would sing all the time, I wouldn't like let them look at me in the eyes and like sing to them.
Mm.
But I feel like now if they asked me to, I would do it in a heartbeat. Um it's helped me feel a lot better about myself and what I do, which I feel like is a really important thing to like have, especially when you want to go out where there's a lot more competition and you have to like be in your A game and know that you can do it and that like you're capable of being in that role.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
It definitely helps, like, also when you just get that big surprise where, oh, you actually did land this role.
Right?
And
That
like,
is like the best feeling
yeah,
ever.
yeah, yeah. It's like I one time for elementary, it's not for acting, but it was for singing. Whoa, my first
Oh
actual
my
singing
gosh.
was like,
Yes.
um, we were all in this room and volunteering. No, we were auditioning for singing the national anthem at our
Mhm.
like elementary softball game. And there's so many people. I was nervous and I was constantly practicing with my best friend. I actually thought that she was gonna get it before I would have ever gotten it. But at the I think it was the same day actually, or through an email on the same day, and they emailed me and suddenly I got it. And the interesting thing is with acting, I think it also plays a role where I'm more comfortable in front of strangers than I am with my family. Like, and maybe it's a little more embarrassing to sing or to perform in front of my family. But when there's so many people that you don't know, or like you're just like, oh, well, you've been around them. So I was completely fine singing in front of my whole school. But if I had to do the same thing for my family members, yeah, I don't know if I would do the same thing.
I know. I feel like what like that's the case for a lot of people is like
Yeah.
whenever they think about performing for their like in front of their family, they
Yeah.
like you cringe so hard and you're like, no, why would I do that? But and if that's the case, I feel like if you learned to be comfortable with that, then you could do like anything in front of anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Along the lines of like what you said about don't feel bad from earlier, well, I would say don't feel bad if you don't get that role or if you don't get like an agency that scouts you. Because like in the beginning, even when I already had an agency, you can always like for on-screen acting or wherever you are, you can go for more agencies. You can audition. And at that time I got rejected by like 2 or 3. But then sometimes the people on the panel could also be having a bad day. Like I remember there was this really well-known agency and the 2 people on the panel that day were sick. Unfortunately, maybe that might have not been the best day for me to be there, but that was fine. Things always happen, and I mean I got somewhere else anyways. So
yeah, and I feel like especially in the acting industry, so many people put like so much pressure on being rejected.
right.
But like if you think about it, like you were rejected from like 1 or 2, but like how many other opportunities and like agencies are out there, you know? So like it's like almost guaranteed that you're gonna belong to one, you know?
You just gotta
So
find it.
exactly. And I feel like that like journey of finding where you fit in the most and like the most comfortable is so important to your growth as an actor or even like as a person, because I feel like it's understanding like what you're comfortable with, who you're comfortable with, and like what you want to do. So I think that like that's a really important part of it.
Yes. Okay, so this has been such a long talk. And
But a good one.
Yeah, we hope though that you all enjoyed it and you maybe learned some things or maybe you'll test the waters with acting yourselves.
Try it out.
So thank you for joining us today and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Show something.
Do you mind if I grab my charger real quick? My computer is like on the verge of dying.
Yeah, actually, I'll pause it really quick because anyways, we have 6 minutes. I didn't realize time went by that quickly. So, I'll just like restart the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Go get your
Okay.
So I had that time.
Yeah.
Restart again.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Um.
Text me when you start it.
Yeah. Okay.